Welcome to Insured Solutions in our ongoing battle and struggle with dealing with workers' compensation. As you know, our concept is going on offense, taking an offensive position on workers' comp. The subject now is behavior. One thing misunderstood about behavior is you're often looking for particulars, and that's not what it's about. Behavior is the terms and the conditions that you set within the workplace and you provide as an expectation for the employees. And it begins at the point of hire. Behavior is a critical subject to get control of. So everything we do may have paper, but the paper is not the point. The point is the change in behavior the paper induces on those who are, I don't want to say they're unwilling or unaware, but they are unaware that it's happening because you're setting standards, both positive and negative, to create a cohesion and change a culture. Some companies don't need it, some need it terribly bad. If you're having a lot of losses and claims, you probably have behavior issues that have run amok. You need to get control of it. Behavior is a matter of how you project it in the workplace. It can be through posters. One key point is to use sign and date policies on subjects that matter greatly, to have consequences tied to the subjects themselves. For example, we have here our first poster that goes up in the workplace. You notice it's a $1,000 reward poster for anyone squealing or ratting on somebody who's trying to pull a con game on you. And that's important. You need to have employees looking over their shoulder what they say, because loose lips sink ships. And that can very well happen, and many of the claimants who are out to take advantage know this. Now, has the $1,000 ever been paid? No, because just because someone reports that someone is trying to defraud does not mean it's going to shut a claim down. What it means is that we have reason to believe there's a problem, but more importantly, what it means is there's a behavior effect of the poster. It goes after behavior. That's what all this is about. The next thing you'll see as a possible sign and date form talks about conditions of employment. All conditions of employment bring out on this form are the top 17 points of behavior that are common employee handbook subjects that can cause disciplinary action on an employee, whether it's stealing, lying, sleeping on the job, doing drugs, having unauthorized electronic equipment. It can be a variety of things on the job. And again, do these points matter? Well, sure they do. But you notice on these, they're deemed to be either a subject to termination or immediate suspension without pay. And that is very important, very, very important, a distinct difference. But the behavior on this conditions of employment form, you'll also notice, talks about safety policy. Again, it's a jab at the enforcement and the way you take safety seriously. Below that, an EEOC component to remind them that you comply. Below that is a harassment component to remind them that you don't tolerate it. So not only does this get the message out of behavior under a visible mindset that they sign and date for, which elevates the importance of it, but it also covers you against the need to have periodic reminders. This particular notice that's signed and dated should be used at least once a year, preferably in January. It's a great way to start the new year, January 1st. Come right out of the gate, reintroduce it, boom. And by the way, these are orientation forms, the reward poster, the behavior. They're all orientation forms that start out of the gate since new hires don't understand. They won't know your culture, but they'll quickly be brought under the umbrella of it. The next one you're going to see up here is what it means to report all injuries immediately. This is extremely important. Your policy is to report immediately. An employee may think, well, what does that mean? The states will say 30 days commonly. The system will give them 1 year. The judges like to stretch it to 1 year. So look at that wide range and just know that there are penalties for late reporting, and the cost, penalty fines can run up to 15% for going beyond the time frame. The cost of a claim will go up 40% if it takes more than 72 hours to have it turned in. And if it takes more than a week, most states say all bets are off on medical control. Now, even if you're in an MPN or an MCO in your state and you wait 7 days to turn it in, and it may not even be your fault, but that's irrelevant. It's late. And when it's late, you're penalized for it. The key is to let the employees know what it means. And when they read this little notice, you notice that it picks up on every possible contingency of any mention of an injury, every possible one. And it also reminds them of their responsibility to not negate someone's rights by not reporting it. Because oftentimes a supervisor or someone in the chain will get busy. The employee will say, I'm okay, I think I'm fine, no problem, go back to work. The supervisor goes back to work because it's no big deal, but that was the time of official notification, and that's the time that you can be penalized, and that's how the employee escapes a lot of this, because they've got 1 year from that moment to come back and act on that injury. So it's important you take action right away. They do what? They go to the doctor, they fill out all the paperwork as a claim, because it's a claim, if any word of it comes up, and they do a drug test. The drug subject we talked about earlier. Remember, the drug subject is key, refusal. If they go to the doctor, drug test. If they don't, there's a drug test. The key is there will always be a drug test. You can't get away from that. The next form you're going to see on there is a injury statement list. Now, this form is, again, a subject. It's not in and of itself the perfect solution. If you have a fixed location where employees clock in and clock out every day, that's fine. It works fine. Where they acknowledge were they hurt, not hurt. If they were hurt, they told the supervisor. If they witnessed an injury, they told the supervisor. So you're covering both situations, injured or a witness, because there can be collusion going on between employees and one can support the other, and that's all they need, and now you've got a valid claim to deal with that you're not going to be able to stop. So you shut it down on both ends. It could be your people go out in the field and they turn in daily or weekly timesheets, and you've got a box you can add to their paperwork that's already in place. One box, I was not injured this pay period or this week. It's better to keep it away from pay periods. Keep it in a time frame. You don't want it associated with any kind of extortion to where they won't get their check unless they do it. Or they can check a box, I was not injured, boom. Or I was injured and told the supervisor. So it's turned in. This is what we call a truth statement. It lets them know somebody is watching the truth, and that's us at Insured Solutions. You save these up. And we have a claim and you have one coming in late, we're going to ask you to pull those checklists to see if they're on there. And we will catch them sometimes in a fabrication. They forget it. The next is a poster you'll see on substance abuse. Substance abuse, again, is the drug program. But again, you want to put it visible, post it as a policy to remind the employees, this is on our radar screen, we don't tolerate it, don't say you didn't know about it. Again, the image is important for behavior. We're trying to get behavior. And lastly, in a positive vein, you're going to have the chance to issue for signing and dating at orientation and for existing employees a standards of conduct. So you know these standards are pretty much adopted by half the Fortune 500 companies. They're very valuable. Why? Because you put forth what you have as an expectation from everyone who works for you. They need to know what to provide you. They need to know your position and that you believe in right, not wrong. You expect integrity. You expect character. You expect them to live it at work. And if they live it at work, they'll take it home, which is also where it belongs. And lastly on this, you'll notice a little phrase about working and about being paid for the value they bring to the workplace, not for the time. So many low-wage people never figure that out. This is a chance to teach them. They don't learn economics anywhere. But you know as an employer that it's up to you to do what the system will not do and what so many times now parents don't even do. So you're teaching them and you're going to let them grow. And it would make you happy if they use these and they move on and become the best they can be. You don't own them and you wish them well as they continue to grow and multiply their income. That would make you happy. And if they feel that you're genuine in that, that will go a long way towards setting a cultural base that you need to work from. You'll have those periodically that'll have some mockery. They will be the ones to put it down. The glass is always half empty, not half full. Yeah, you're going to have those. But you know what that tells you? When you notice that, they have to go. You have to replace them. You build your structure the way you want it with a foundation of integrity, and you will reap the benefits of it. If you ignore it, it'll get out of hand and it'll start to run you over. You have no representation whatsoever. The employees have all they need with unlimited resources, so it's up to you. One more powerful behavior tool at the very end. From a standpoint of safety and regulations, you say, well, this is a safety issue, but no. Behavior is affected by how you handle safety. The federal government expects you to do 4 things. Have rules, make them understandable, monitor periodically for compliance, and enforce. You need a progressive discipline program, 3 or 4 steps, you need to enforce it. That is a behavior action in the negative sense. It provides you a paper trail, it provides you a system, and it allows you to do so without any discriminatory intent. So behavior is key, everything we do. Remember, behavior is the driving force behind every single one of our steps. And this is how we address it head on. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.